بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد النبي العالمين أما بعد. I'll continue from ayah number 15 inshallah ta'ala, and then we'll move forward. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says فَلَمَّا ذَهَبُوا بِهِ وَأَجْمَعُوا أَن يَجْعَلُوهُ فِي غَيَابَةِ الْجُبِّ. When they took Yusuf alayhi salam in the way that they took him, and I mentioned this in the last session that we had before our Hajj break in between, that as they carried him, each one of them carried Yusuf alayhi salam on their shoulders. The word that was used earlier was yarta' wa yal'ab. The word yarta' actually comes from the concept of ri'aya, which means to take care of someone. The Prophet says, كُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٍ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٍ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. Every one of you are a shepherd, and each of you are responsible for their herd. In other words, everyone is responsible for someone, and you're liable for the way that they are treated by you and around you. So when they use the word yarta' wa yal'ab, yarta' as in, we will take care of this child. We will nurture him, we will make sure that he is protected. Like how a shepherd protects his herd, that no harm can come his way. That's what yarta' means. So now as they're carrying him, what each person carrying, like in the Imam Qurtubi rahmatullahi narrates, فَأَخَذُوا يَحْمِلُونَهُ عَلَىٰ أَكْتَافِهِمْ لَا يَضَعُهُ وَاحِدٌ إِلَّا رَفَعَهُ آخَرٌ. That each one of the brothers carried Yusuf. When one would drop him, meaning get tired, the next brother would pick him up. This is throughout the time where the father could see the brothers, and the view was clear to him. In the moment, فَلَمَّا انْقَطَعَ بَصْرُ أَبِيهِمْ عَنْهُمْ, the moment the view of Yaqub alayhi salam was cut off, that he couldn't see them anymore, they threw him on the ground, right? رَمَاهُ الَّذِي كَانَ يَحْمِلُهُ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ حَتَّى كَادَ يَنْكَسِرُ, to the point that he almost injured and broke his back. So this is how they took him and carried him. And now they're kind of like pushing him forward, they're hurting him, they're harming him. فَلَمَّا ذَهَبُوا بِهِ. In the ayah it says ذَهَبُوا بِهِ, when they took him. But behind this word ذَهَبُوا بِهِ, it's not that they just took him, they forced him. They bullied him till the point that they reached the well. وَأَجْمَعُوا أَن يَجْعَلُوهُ فِي غَيَابَةِ الْجُبِّ. And they agreed, they were all in equal agreement, except for the older brother, Yehuda, that they will throw him inside of the well. غَيَابَةِ الْجُبِّ, I mentioned this last time as well. The word غَيْبَ and غَابَ in Arabic means jungle. غَابَ means jungle. So غَيَابَةِ الْجُبِّ is literally like this dark, uninhabited well. No one goes there, no one accesses this well, there's no one living around it. It's like a jungle. Just like how a jungle gives you the feel in the understanding of loneliness, wahusha, fear. The same thing would be found in this type of a well. وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِ. And we revealed towards him, we revealed towards Yusuf alayhi salam. أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِ doesn't mean that he became a prophet, because the concept of wahi is present even for those who are not prophets. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَوْحَى رَبُّكَ إِلَى النَّحْلِ, that Allah gave wahi to even a honeybee. This concept of inspiration. Yes, wahi refers to revelation, but it also refers to being inspired by Allah. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى أُمِّ مُوسَى, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave wahi, inspired the mother of Musa to go ahead and feed and nurture Musa alayhi salam till the point that when she feels afraid for him, to put him inside of the water. So this word wahi is something that, yes, revelation is for prophets, but being inspired by Allah is something that even you and I can experience. One of the reasons why we do istikhara is we are able to get inspired by Allah through an inclination of ours, right? Especially if we are able to do it in the correct manner. Right? So a person feels inspired and inclines towards something. There are different types of thoughts. There are different types of, you would say, forces that can try to inspire you. There's a force of goodness, which is wahi, ilham, that there is this inclination that comes from a pure source, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there's also the force of shaitan and the force of evil, which is waswasa and hamaza. Waswasa and hamaza are also thoughts that people may think of them to be inspiration from Allah. Like a person may say, I feel inspired. I feel inspired to do this. I felt inspired to say this. I felt inspired to dress like this. Right? That inspired doesn't mean it's from Allah. It could be from shaitan as well. And the only way to be able to determine whether it came from Allah or from shaitan is to check whether or not it fulfills the commandments of Allah or goes against the commandments of Allah. There's no prophet, so our inspiration cannot be contrary to revelation that came to the Prophet ﷺ. But awhayna, people are able to, in moments, awhayna ilayhi, in this moment where he was thrown in the well, with no one around him, no family, no loved ones, in this moment of absolute loneliness and fear, awhayna ilayhi, Allah inspired him. Right? Sometimes a person finds Allah, or rather oftentimes a person finds Allah when they're alone. Oftentimes a person finds Allah when their hearts are broken. Oftentimes a person finds Allah when they realize that the people around them who perhaps were supposed to be kind to them turn out to be the opposite. Awhayna ilayhi. That's where a person finds Allah. That's when Allah inspires. Sometimes when people around you are supposed to help you make a decision, help guide you, and they turn out to backstab you, awhayna ilayhi. Allah is there to inspire you. Allah is there to guide you. وَيَهْدِي إِلَيْهِ مَن يُنِيبُ. When we say Allah is there to inspire us, we're not expecting like an angel to come swooping down and give us some special revelation. But no, it simply means that the heart feels guided. The heart feels content. Ultimately, the goal of every person that is living in this world is to be able to pacify this heart of theirs. If the heart is at comfort, then the entire body is able to survive. But when the heart is anxious, uneasy, at fear, then even the most healthiest, secure person feels uncomfortable. When the heart is at ease, this is why la tahzan. La tahzan means don't be let the anxiety go. When the Prophet ﷺ was inside the cave of Ghar Thawr, and the enemies had come and reached the mouth of the cave, and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu commented on it, that Ya Rasulullah, if they look down, they will see us here. The Prophet says, La tahzan inna Allah ma'ana. The verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that don't fear, don't be sad, don't grieve. Because if the heart is in control, despite what you have experienced, you'll still be able to pray to Allah. You'll still be able to read your Quran daily. You'll still be able to correctly deal with people even though you feel hurt. So the entire goal of every Muslims and non-Muslims is that how do I pacify this heart in the best of ways? A non-Muslim will feel, or a person who doesn't have Allah in their life will believe that the heart will be pacified if the body is taken care of. So the more I can feed the body, the more the heart will be fulfilled. Because the heart also loves to indulge. So now this person will try to buy this and take that and go on this vacation, but the heart is still not content. And a believer understands that the only thing that fills the heart, yes, we can do all of those things as well, but that which fills the heart is even when I'm in a marketplace, the Prophet taught us the dua of the market. What dhikr should I read when I'm shopping? Not that I don't shop. What dhikr should I read when I am shopping? What dhikr should I read when I am enjoying, whatever it is? When I leave the house, what dua do I read? Right? So, awhayna is in this moment of complete fear. This kid has no idea what is to come. But Allah says, I got you. Awhayna ilayhi. So we find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in moments like this as well. And this can only happen if the heart turns towards Allah. لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ هَذَا. That you will soon inform these people. لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ. Verily, surely, you will inform them about the matter that just took place. وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. Whilst they won't know what is happening. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling Yusuf alayhi salam in this short inspiration of his, that a time will come and a day will come where you will have the upper hand. Allah understands that we're also weak. So sometimes when I don't get accepted into that specific program or I don't get that job, we still require some type of comfort from Allah. So Allah will show us a sign that, hey, this is an opening that I will give you. Allah could have let Yusuf struggle and not informed him of anything. And Allah would have been just in doing so. But human beings, because we're weak, there's a level of comfort that we require. We're ma'nus. Uns. Insan comes from the root letters of uns. We require compassion. We require this level of, this relationship that we have with our spouses, our children, our father, our mother, our friends. This gives us uns. So Allah is giving him uns that, look, a day will come that you will inform them of بِأَمْرِهِمْ هَذَا, of all of this. In the word naba'a, in Arabic, like for example, we have عَمَّ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ عَنِ النَّبَإِ الْعَظِيمِ. The word naba'a means two things. It has two unique elements to it. Because there's other words in Arabic that also mean news. Khabar is one of them, which is perhaps more common. But naba is also the word that is the base of nabi, of prophets. Nabi. It's naba'a. The two unique elements of naba'a are, number one, that there's only one access point of this information. There's only one source of this information. That's why they're called nabi. Anin naba al-azim is referring to the Day of Judgment because the only access to this information independently and solely is Allah. Because everything else, Allah has the information of it, but He also gave it to people. So for example, if you want to talk about any knowledge of the dunya, Allah also gave it to people. But there's 5 things that He kept for Himself that no one else has access to. Right? So naba is referring to that. So over here, no one else will have access to this story except for you, Yusuf. That's naba. The second meaning of naba, or the second element that is unique about it, is that it's always referring to significant news. So for example, if you have access to something which is like trivial and mundane, you don't use the word naba for that. Like, I'm the only one that knows how Little Caesar's pizza is made. Like, no one cares how Little Caesar's pizza is made. Right? That's not naba. Naba is like something which is significant. And this is significant. That you will be able to inform them of their betrayal against you. That's أوحينا إليه لتنبئنهم بأمرهم هذا وهم لا يشعرون. The story that I mentioned in the last session as well, where he started speaking to his brothers and the brothers started responding back. And then Jibreel alayhi salam came and he taught him multiple du'as, and some lengthy, some short. But over here it says that as he's making these du'as, as he's calling towards his brothers, Jibreel alayhi salam comes to him. So he's saying to his brothers, I mentioned this in the last session as well. He says, إِذَا اجْتَمَعْتُمْ كُلُّكُمْ فأنس بعضكم بعضا فاذكروا وحشتي وإذا أكلتم فاذكروا جوعي وإذا شربتم فاذكروا عطشي. That when you are together, remember that I am alone. When you start eating, remember that I'm hungry. When you have drinks, remember that I'm going to be thirsty. So he's speaking to them and he's trying to make them feel like, hey man, you're going to feel guilty about this very soon. So perhaps you should take me out of this well. Finally, Jibreel alayhi salam comes to him and he says, Ya Yusuf, كف عن هذا واشتغل بالدعاء فإن الدعاء عند الله بمكان. He says, forget about these people. Now you call only towards Allah. ثم علمه فقال. Then he taught him this dua and he said to him, قل اللهم يا مؤنس كل غريب ويا صاحب كل وحيد ويا ملجأ كل خائف ويا كاشف كل كربة ويا عالم كل نجوى ويا منتهى كل شكوى وَيَا حَاضِرَ كُلِّ مَلَأ يَا حَيُّ يَا قَيُّومُ. He recites this lengthy dua, the one who is the support for the one who is isolated, O the one who is the companion for those who have no companions, O the one who provides shelter for every person who is afraid, O the one who can remove any calamity from those who are afflicted by a calamity. وَيَا عَالِمَ كُلِّ نَجْوَى, O the one who knows about each person who is calling towards him and who is alone. After he makes his dua, the angels, فَقَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, the angels in the heavens, they start saying and speaking to each other, and they turn towards Allah and say, Ya ilahana, O Allah, inna nasma'u sawtan wa du'a'an, as-sawtu sawtu sabi, wa du'a'u du'a'u nabi. They say, Oh Allah, we hear this voice, we hear this prayer. The voice is a voice of a child, but the prayer is like the prayer of a prophet. Like no one would know how to make this prayer unless they were a prophet. And no one would call upon you with such sincerity unless they were a prophet. But the voice is the voice of a child. Right? And there's a few other du'as that are referred to in reference to Yusuf alayhi salam. So this is where Yusuf alayhi salam is. He's in this well. The next verse continues. We learn from that as well, that even in those moments, like why would Allah teach us a story of a brother being thrown into a well all alone? Not because we will be thrown into a well, but because our wells will be different. You know, for some of us it might be getting laid off. Some of us it might be, struggling with your children, and you feel like you're in a well because like literally no one can help you. No one, and that's how we think. Of course, people can help us. Just have to ask. But there are times where people who are close to us betray us. In that moment, Allah is teaching us through the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, regardless of what type of betrayal you dealt with. Of course, there's nothing worse than betrayal from those who are close to you. It's a sign of a munafiq, right? That they can't keep you can't trust people. And the Prophet said that before the time of the Day of Judgment, amongst the most common signs is that you will not find people that you can trust. Not trust with your wealth, you can't even trust them with your secrets. Right? The Prophet said, Al-majalisu bil-amana. The gatherings are entrusted. That whatever is spoken of in that gathering should be such that it is not shared anywhere else except for with the people from that gathering. And that is not something which has to be stated. That is the default of the gathering. That I don't share this with anyone else. It's not like, oh, you never told me not to share it. No, the fact that it took place in the closed room means that it was supposed to stay in that closed room as well. So, no amana. But if people do experience that, then the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam taught us at that point, أوحينا إليه, Allah will inspire us to make our own dua. Allah will inspire us to find more openings for ourselves. The brothers return to the father. وَجَاءُوا أَبَاهُمْ عِشَاءً يَبْكُونَ. They come back late at night. And why would they come back at night? Because the sinners find an opening at nighttime to sin, whereas the believers find an opportunity to obey Allah inside of their homes. Right? This is why the Prophet says that there's la samurata ba'da al-isha. There is nothing good to be done after Isha. There is no talk. There is no benefit. I mean, especially right now in the summer, because Isha is so late, there's not much we can do. So when a person is outside after Isha, the Prophet says there's not much goodness to come from it. Now, of course, if someone is involved in salatul, like acts of obedience, visiting people, serving people, praying Isha in the masjid, reading Quran, studying knowledge, this is all virtuous. But if there's no virtuous thing to do, then we should be in our home at that time. People are working, some people have night shift. That's perfectly fine. So they come at nighttime. This is when the devils come out. This is why we know how to tell children not to play outside after Maghrib. But we forget that we are not immune to the impact of the shayateen as well. Yes, the children can see them, and they may be physically impacted. But adults can feel them as well. And we are spiritually impacted. Right? The night, if we're spending time out at nighttime after Isha, and whether it's in, again, I'm not saying this as if like we're not allowed to be out. Like I'm always out after Isha. So I'm not trying to be hypocritical. But the idea is like if we are out at some random time in a coffee shop, sitting with people speaking, perhaps we should find it we should find that to be somewhat detestable in our Sharia. That's not that encouraged, because there's nothing good coming from that. At that time, that's not a time to make decisions that can save the ummah. Like, you can't be smoking hookah and speaking about how we can liberate Palestine, right? Because then you won't wake up for Fajr. What liberation is there if one can't liberate their soul from disobeying Allah in the morning, right? So that's what happens late at night. So the sinners, the shayateen, are out there at nighttime. That's when they attack. That's their time to attack. Children are protected. How about the adults? How about you and I? Because the effect of those shayateen are as great, if not more, on us, because we're actually mukallaf. We're liable for our deeds. Right? So, in a lot of times, those conversations of namima, ghiba, gossiping, backbiting, conversations about people, they happen at nighttime because everyone's guard is down. Right? Everyone starts speaking about random things. It's better not to have those gatherings. So they come out to their father at night, and a believer finds those opportunities in the middle of the night to pray to Allah. That's what they want to do. وَجَاءُوا أَبَاهُمْ عِشَاءً يَبْكُونَ. They come at nighttime in the state that they're crying. Right? Not every teardrop is a sign of remorse. Anyone can cry for you. Right? Anyone can give a post for us. That doesn't mean much. Right? It's about whether or not it can actually transform us. So they're crying and they're like, acting as if they actually are sad. قالوا يا أبانا إنا ذهبنا نستبق. By the way, it doesn't mean that we ignore. If someone does come to us and they're crying, we give them the benefit of the doubt. They're actually supportive. If someone comes to us and they're, consoling, or they're standing for Gaza and so on and so forth, we'll take it at face value. We're not that we were taught حكمنا بالظواهر, as Qadi Abu Yusuf, who was a student of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi, would say, we make judgments based upon what is apparent. If someone is standing with us, that means we will take that at face value. We won't say, no, they have an agenda as well. We'll take it at face value to the best of our ability without being naive though. قالوا يا أبانا. They come and they say, "Oh Father, إنا ذهبنا نستبق." That we went out and nastabiq means we were racing. We were competing in sports. Nastabiq means this comes from the word sabaqa, right? Which means to proceed. We were competing in different games, in different sports. وَتَرَكْنَا يُوسُفَ عِنْدَ مَتَاعِنَا. And we left Yusuf with all of our luggage. For example, when you go out for a picnic, you have all the items for the picnic and you put them under the tree or put them in one area. We left everything there, and because Yusuf is much younger than us and he couldn't compete with us, we just asked him to stay there. And as he was there, وَتَرَكْنَا يُوسُفَ عِنْدَ مَتَاعِنَا فَأَكَلَهُ الذِّئْبُ. A wolf came by and devoured him. So they're saying, this is the verse of the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shares with us and how they spoke to their father. But in the tafsir, there are details that are mentioned that are far more descriptive. So, فَرُوِيَ أَنَّ يَعْقُوبَ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامَ لَمَّا سَمِعَ بُكَاءَهُمْ قَالَ مَا بِكُمْ. Right? So when he saw them, when he saw the sons show up and he heard them cry, he says, مَا بِكُمْ. What's going on? What are you crying for? Why are you guys crying? What's wrong? And as they're struggling to respond, the father goes ahead and surveys the children. And when you love someone, you can find them in a pack of 1,000,000. Right? And Hajj is probably the best example of that. People are able to find their loved ones despite the fact there's like 1,000,000 people walking. They're able to that's my mother, that's my father, that's my son, daughter, spouse. They can just pick them out. How'd you know that was how'd you know? Because that's what love does. You can pick them out. Because your eye and your heart are attached. So the father loves Yusuf more than anything else in this world. And his heart is looking for him, and his eyes are searching for him. And when he doesn't find him, he says, أَيْنَ ثَمَرَةَ فُؤَادَ قَلْبِي. Where is the fruit, meaning the source of comfort of my heart? أين قرة عين? Where is the coolness of my eyes? Coolness of my eyes in reference to the fact that whenever I look at the dua, رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ. What does قُرَّةَ عَيْن mean? قُرَّةَ عَيْن means when I look at this person or look at this thing, it brings comfort to me, it makes me forget about all my difficulties. The Prophet says, جُعِلَتْ قُرَّةَ عَيْنِي فِي الصَّلَاةِ. The Prophet says, my قُرَّةُ عَيْن, the coolness of my eyes that removes the discomfort that I am experiencing, is actually found in prayer. This is why إِذَا حَزَبَهُ أَمْرٌ فَزِعَ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ. And when at any moment in his life when something difficult will come his way, he would rush towards prayer. Because for him that was قُرَّةَ عَيْن. Like if you have like someone that you're very close to and when you're struggling, you just want to hug that person. That's قُرَّةَ عَيْن for this individual. He says, أَيْنَ قُرَّةَ عَيْن? So where is the coolness of my eyes? أَيْنَ قِطَعَةَ قَلْبِي? Where is the peace of my heart? And they respond and they say, this is when they respond and say, أَكَلَهُ الذِّئْبُ وَمَاتَ. A wolf ate him and he's dead. In the moment he says that, the moment they respond by saying this, he صَاحَ فَغَشَ. He screams and he passes out. So they try to bring him back and he comes back to his conscious and again he asks, one more time, where's my son? And they respond by saying the same thing. They say, hey, a wolf ate him and he's dead. He passes out the second time. This happens 3 times that he passes out. Spirituality doesn't necessarily prevent you from experiencing pain at loss like a person, like anyone else. Spirituality and religiosity doesn't stop a person from experiencing the heartache and the pain like anyone else would experience. It accelerates the response time that is beloved to Allah. But the actual moment of pain is present in each and every one of us the same way. Yeah, we all experience pain differently, but the actual heartache of a prophet losing his son is like any father losing his son. It's not that because he was a prophet, his relationship with Allah is so strong that his love for Allah would overwhelm his sadness of losing his son. No. The loss is a loss, but it accelerates it's an insurance policy. I always tell people like having salat in your life and having Allah in your life is an insurance policy. For the akhirah for sure, but even for the dunya. Because even we ask Allah for afiyah and ease our entire life. But when we do experience a moment that we weren't prepared for, now what does an insurance policy do? You pay your premium you pay whatever you're paying every single month. And you might not ever actually need you might not ever have a claim on your car. Allah protect all of us. But you still pay it. Because if one day you have health insurance, you tear your ACL while playing basketball or soccer, now what? $15,000, $20,000, you're going to be charged for a surgery. But you're not worried about it because you've been paying your insurance policy. You're like, no problem, my insurance will take care of me. Similarly, there will be a moment in my life where Allah will challenge me and test me. But if I haven't built a relationship with Allah till that point and I haven't been paying my dues through salat, 5 times salat, through my daily recitation, then I won't have something to pull me back up. Right? Because at that moment, either you drown or you're able to just survive. No one thrives in the moment of difficulty. They thrive afterwards. In the moment of difficulty, survival. How can you survive? How can you protect your tongue? In that moment, yes, in as-sabru 'inda sadmati al-ula. In that moment, when you first hear about the loss of a loved one, it's about surviving. But then afterwards, we can thrive. That insurance policy kicks in. Right? Spirituality does not stop the impact of hardship. So then, as the third time when he comes back to his consciousness and he wakes up, he says, so the sons actually go ahead and do like, nowadays is a term for this, right? It's called gaslighting, right? The Quran speaks about this. They try to gaslight their dad. They said, and you know, children do that a lot with their parents. Children, like this, like sometimes when you're speaking to someone and you pass a comment and someone says to you, oh, you didn't know that? Even that is unnecessary. Like, calculate your words. You don't need to say that. The fact that he's saying that to you means that he didn't know it. And there are things that you don't know that he or she knows as well. Well, why do we look for every opportunity to try to claim superiority over another person? It's fine, right? Like sometimes you'll have a conversation and someone, the other person or you will pass a comment, like being surprised about something the other person didn't know of. Like why? Yesterday we were sitting with some people, like after the graduation, and someone was speaking about it, and the other person had no idea about it, right? They had no idea. And the person speaking to them was one of our students, so he said, oh, you don't know about Allah, brother. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't make it seem like you're like Einstein. You're pretty, you know, yourself. You just know about this one thing better than him. It's okay. Don't make him feel insecure about asking about it, right? So, like you see that with children, with their parents, because they may not know the culture the same way. They may not know certain aspects of our reality the same way. We start our conversation like, we start a statement like, oh, you wouldn't know this anyways. Man, like, my son never said that to me. Oh, you don't know how this hand feels. Right? Like, imagine telling your elderly 60-year-old father and mother, like, you won't understand it anyways. Like, there's no point in me explaining it to you. Like, say that to your friends, fine. But not your parents. He says, وَمَا أَنْتَ بِمُؤْمِنٍ لَنَا وَلَوْ كُنَّا صَادِقِينَ. He says, oh Father, you won't believe us even though we are truthful. It's like, these guys are such nutheads, right? You won't believe us because they already know that they're lying. They can't even convince themselves that they're telling the truth. But they're telling the Father that you won't believe us. وَمَا أَنْتَ بِمُؤْمِنٍ لَنَا وَلَوْ كُنَّا صَادِقِينَ. Even though we are truthful though. We're not lying to you, but you won't believe us. And I'll end with this last thing, and I'll take a few questions inshallah. That at this point, the father went ahead and said, okay, can we bury Yusuf? Can we give him, the honor, the last right of a believer is to give him an honorable janazah. Janazah, a dafn, to bury him. This is the right of a believer. And that's actually what brings the most comfort to the family. This is why the Prophet says that there are three things that you don't delay when the time comes. Salat when the time comes in, marriage when you find the right partner, and janazah. We do it as quick as possible, of course, given the circumstances. Because this brings comfort to the person who has passed, but from experience, it also brings a great amount of comfort for the families as well. And a person won't even think of it to be like that. But when you experience it, you go, what? This is why janazah is supposed to be done? Because you're allowing the person to continue their journey. And where they're going, جَعَلْهُ دَارًا خَيْرًا مِنْ دَارِي وَأَهْلًا خَيْرًا مِنْ أَهْلِي. A home better than this home and a family better than their previous family. So the idea of janazah is, yeah, we got to do it. So he says, where's my son's body so I can perform janazah? He said, oh no, the wolf ate the entire body. So even the bones. Like imagine someone comes to your house and you feed them some chicken and you come back a few moments later, there's no bones there. Like that, bro, I didn't invite any jinns here. Like, where's the bones at? Again, horrible criminals. Good people. They were not bad. They made a mistake. But they were like, they didn't know what they were doing. We spoke about this previously. When a person commits to azam, they don't have a plan. They have an outcome. But they don't have a plan. This is why we're not outcome driven. We're not outcome driven. We are process driven. Like they had no plan. Like, we'll figure it out. There's no janazah? But no, he ate the bones too. Okay, no problem. Can you at least bring me the shirt? And then, oh yeah, we gotta bring the shirt. They took a shirt, they slaughtered a goat or a ram, they put the blood of that animal on the shirt, and they brought it to the father. And the father says, Wallahi ma ra'aytu dhi'ba ahkama min hadha. I've never come across a wolf more intelligent than this one. The wolf ate the entire body of my son, including the bones, but did not tear the shirt one bit. And this is when he realized, sabrun jameel, that these people are making a plot against Yusuf, and there's nothing else that he can do at this point. We'll start from here, inshallah. We'll continue from ayah number 19, inshallah, to next